Harshali, I think we can get started now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, good morning. Welcome to all of you on this Sunday morning. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Shivani Pandit, and I'm here today with on behalf of Samarthya Foundation and SNCC Rehab Foundation to present to you our series of financial webinars called Samruddhi series. Today we are going to talk about focus on mutual funds. And before we get started, I just hope all of you are well, healthy, safe. I know these are very difficult times in India, and we recognize that. And considering all that, you have made the time to come for this session. So, again, thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to take a brief minute to introduce to you who Samarthya Foundation is, what Samarthya Foundation is. So, like I said, my name is Shivani Pandit. I am a special educator. I have been working with children with autism spectrum disorder and intellectual disabilities for the past 25 years in the United States. Samarthya is based out of the US, but all our projects that we work on are focused on working with children with disabilities in India, as well as professionals who work with them. And really, our entire focus is on creating public awareness towards creating inclusive society, creating professional development so as to train teachers with high quality services, and of course providing parent training and support. And we really are very, very excited to partner with SNCC Rehab Foundation and Harshali Kharche to present the Samruddhi series for you. This is specifically designed for parents of children with disabilities and adult siblings. And so we have launched these webinar series with our expert, Mr. Rahul Kelapure, who so graciously and generously comes every month and gives us his valuable time and his expertise to address any questions related to financial planning of persons with disabilities. And we meet every month, as you may or may not know. If you have been joining us from the beginning, from January, you know we meet every Sunday, 11:30 to 1 a.m., last Sunday of the month. If you are new, then and if you've joined our WhatsApp groups, you should be able to get more information there as well. But this is our series, and Rahul ji focuses on a specific topic every month, so as to cover 12 topics all through the year. That's really been our plan. So that's enough about me and Samarthya. I'll hand it over to Harshali and we will take it forward from there.
Yes. Very good morning, everyone. Nice to see you after summit. Great to see all of you on Sunday. And I will not take much of a time, but I just want to mention here, SNCC is doing, I mean, a lot of work in awareness and sensitize the society and everything on this financial sector also. But I would like to thank Samarthya Foundation to bring this series for us, because Shivani ma'am is based in US, and it's not that about where you based. I mean, she is working in so many areas for our families that I think no other professional organization is working selflessly for our parents. I mean, I must mention here that it's not about where are you located. It's about what are your intentions and how you are helping families. So I just want to, express my gratitude towards Shivani ma'am and Samarthya to be here and giving us so many different perspective and knowledge to our SNCC family.
Thank you so much, Harshali. Thank you so much.
And
My pleasure.
thank you, Rahul Kelapure sir, for this wonderful knowledge. And I will hand it over to Rahul Kelapure sir. Yeah.
And one second, I think I'm going to find Rahul's video and pin it. Harshali, can you put him
Yes,
on
yes,
spotlight? Yeah,
yes,
yeah, thank
yes.
you.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. And thank you to uh, Shivani and Harshali. You have been doing a wonderful job. And, it's my pleasure to come here month on month and, support, the parents and adult siblings of persons with disability here. Uh, As Shivani and Harshali said, my name is Rahul Kelapure, and I work with Securities and Exchange Board of India, (SEBI), which is a securities market regulator in India. I presently am posted in the Department of Policy in SEBI, and I stay in Mumbai, in Malad, and so that's a little about me. The reason why today I'm so excited here is that today is the time. I think this is the topic that we have today is mutual fund for investment. Uh, this is very close to my heart. Now, the financial planning and investment, investor education itself is really close to my heart. But in that, this thing of this area of mutual fund is something very important, and it's very close to my heart. And I really believe that investment in mutual fund has a great potential, which could actually help all of us to really achieve our financial goals faster than what we could achieve that in any other form of investment. Uh, the important factor about mutual fund really is that mutual funds are relatively safe and growth oriented, which is a great combination. Now, I am really excited for another reason here today, that I can see. I mean, even now some people are joining, and there are so many of us have been joining today. That what I notice is that really shows that you guys, all of you participants here, you are really committed, and you really want to make a difference in your in the person in your family. You want to make that difference, and that really means a lot. And that is the starting point, and which is a great thing. I understand that we have been going through whatever we are going through due to pandemic and other things in life, and today being Sunday, you could do other things, but you choose to be here, so thank you very much for that. Now, you could be thinking, okay, now mutual fund, all that is very technical. What I can do, there'll be so much of a, there'll be so many technicalities, there'll be so many other things that may not be easy to understand. Whereas that may be true, but my commitment for you here today is that, I give you this information which is action oriented, which will actually give you, what you can really do. So it's not about knowledge today. It's about how you can apply this this mutual funds for fulfillment of your financial goal that you have. So that's my intention today. So, and this session would be valuable for you if you would really apply, if you really think it from the point of view of how this would be useful for me, for my financial, right? So I would request you to have that context while listening to this program today. So let's begin. So let's understand what is mutual fund really is. So mutual fund really is a pool where all of us, people like you and me, go and give our money and deposit our money basically to a mutual fund company, which in turn invests on our behalf uh, in various financial products. that could be the the equity markets, that is share market in our everyday language, or it could be investment in bonds, right? Or it could be investment in some government securities. It could be investment in some bank deposits. So there are various financial products that we have for investment. Either they invest in those or the combination of one or more of these funds. So from that, we could actually get that, this is what they do on our behalf. Now, why do they do that? Because they get some fees in the form of expense ratio that we call it. We'll come to that later. But the expense ratio that we pay on our investment while investing in the mutual fund is the fees for managing our money. Right? They manage our money. So now what could be so now a lot of people have been saying, I've come across some people say that they get sometimes those offers from some relative or some people. They say, okay, I am investing in this company. This company is going to take our money. They're going to invest in some high return projects, and then they are going to give us a very high rate of profits. Now, how does that happen? Whether that is also a mutual fund? So no, it's not a mutual fund. Why? Number one is because it is not regulated. Nobody knows what they are going to do about your money, and that's the issue. Because for your safety, if you want really safety of your money, because it's after all your hard-earned money, and it's the money which is going to make a difference for your future. Therefore, it is important to invest only in the regulated funds. Wherein what happens is, if something goes wrong, you will have an option to then go to a regulator, go to maybe SEBI or go to AMFI or some other organization to get your issue redressed, get that problem addressed. I think that is extremely important. Because I've seen on many occasions, people park their, all their retirement corpus or some money that they receive, lump sum money that they receive, they put it in those kind of funds and those kind of money, those kind of funds. And what then happens is that, they lose it all. And then there is a problem, because then in that case, you have no other option. And what we say in India especially is that, no, government is not doing much, why they are not doing it. Of course, government should do things on that, but also we should be careful about it. One other example that I remember is that, when we go to buy some vegetables in the market, वो एक टमाटर लेना होता है, 1 किलो टमाटर, आधा किलो टमाटर, वी गो एंड वी उसको 10 बार हम लोग उसको चेक करके देखते हैं, दबा के देखते हैं कि ये ठीक है कि नहीं, कुछ खराब तो नहीं है, all of that. But when we buy these financial products, which is going to have a huge impact on our futures, we don't do much of an inquiry, and we just invest in some funds just because somebody, relative, some friend or somebody else, some neighbor has suggested us to do so. And more so, it is more important, especially for parents and siblings of persons with disability here, because your biggest worry, I understand, is that what is going to happen of them after me. And in case I'm not able to take care of them, what happens to them after that? And the answer to that, of course, is that if they are financially taken care of, then their life would be easier rather, not easy, I could say, but probably a little bit easier. And that is what we all of us want. And here, if we take a wrong decision here, or decision which has a lot, less information or not appropriate information about it, then all our worries that we think will be taken care of in the financial planning would again come to naught, right? So this is what mutual fund do. So basically they take your money, right? They take your money, they invest on our behalf, and they take fees for that. They invest that money on our behalf only where the company, the mutual fund plan has suggested so. Like if I say I have a equity plan, then they could only invest in equity, as in the stock markets, right? Or if company says that, okay, this is a GSEC plan, that means government securities, they can only invest in the government security or the combination of any of these things. So this is a little bit about sorry, this is a little bit about what is mutual fund. Okay, now let's understand, how does a mutual fund work really? The way mutual fund works is really that thousands and lakhs of people put their money online or through some other ways, right? Online or through checks, or in some cases even by cash. They deposit their money for that particular mutual fund to that mutual fund company. And then in turn, that mutual fund company goes ahead and puts the money in the investment that they have got. Now, what happens here is that in order to invest in any kind of fund, any financial products, you need a lot of knowledge. And of course, we are doing some other things, we are busy in other things in life. And what really happens is that we don't have that kind of a time or or the resources to understand how the markets or the financial markets work. So what these mutual fund companies do is that they have the experts on board who would manage the fund on your behalf. How do they do that? They invest, they take the fund, they pull it in with them, and then depending on what kind of fund it is, they go and invest in those. And they have information about, because since they have all experts with them, they have information on different topics, different what's happening in the market, what is the technical aspects in the market, whether the market is going to go up, whether this particular share is going to go up or not. And they invest and they withdraw depending on the situation in the market. Now also, while doing that, the great thing about mutual funds here is that you would know in what all places the mutual fund company has invested. So you could actually go on a mutual fund's website and check in what all companies that they have invested. Now, this is very, very important that there is a transparency, right? There is a transparency. You would know where the company has invested. Now, that's one thing. Also, every day, at the end of the day, mutual fund companies disclose their NAV, that is net asset value. I'll come to that in just a bit. But they kind of issue the mutual fund price, the price of the unit, right? Wherein then you could know what's the price of your what's the value of your investment today. And there is a very transparent way of calculating that, right? In all the mutual fund companies, there is a very, very transparent way that and every day you could do it, like except for the Saturdays and Sundays. All the other days, mutual fund companies would come up with the investment, the net asset value, NAV. They would then in turn, you would know that, what's the value of your investment. Now, understand it. We, through this, with the payment of some little bit of a fees, what we are doing essentially, that we are essentially getting the services of investment, which otherwise would be very, very difficult for us, because otherwise what happens is that, if you go and if you want to trade in market, of course, you need a lot of information about these mutual funds, these not mutual funds, but these companies. And if the fund goes down, if there's any issue, if there are any issues and any problems, you would not know how to deal with the issues. So now, this is how the mutual fund works. So it's nothing, it's just a pool of your, it's just a pool of your, money that they invest on your behalf. Now, let's look at what are the pros and cons of the mutual fund. So what are the pros and cons of the mutual fund? So let's look at the pros. What are the benefits of mutual fund? As I said, it is very easy. It is very easy to invest. Why it is easy? It's because it does not require too much of a technical knowledge for you to invest in a mutual fund. You just have to decide which is the mutual fund that you want to invest in, what is your goal. And you can so easily invest in a way that you could actually just need a bank account, okay, which preferably if it has a net banking facility, preferably, so that it is easy, or any other online payment facility. Plus, you need a PAN card, and you need to just fill a very simple small mutual fund form while investing, and then you are ready to invest. You get a folio number. What happens? What is the folio number? Folio is like a bank account number. Sorry, the bank account number, but it holds unlike your bank account where you hold your money. Here in this mutual funds, you hold your investments in that fund. So that is that is so easy. You can do all that very, very easily online with the help of some even some websites now they're available. Technically, of course, you can take a services of a mutual fund broker. They are called mutual fund distributors. They will support you in doing all the paperwork. That's one way. But of course, you can otherwise also you can actually just go ahead and put your money in the mutual fund through online mode. There are enough apps and websites available nowadays, which has a very, very quick sign-up process where you just need a bank account and your PAN number and your bank information, and you are good to invest, right? So the KYC procedure all is online these days. If you have if you have your Aadhaar card, it is even more easy. You don't have to go anywhere, right? And you can invest. So it's very easy. Then there is a thing called diversification. Now, what is diversification? Diversification all of us do in our life. When we go out somewhere, we don't keep all our money in the same account, in the same pocket. And even if you keep your money in purse, the ladies, they would also not keep all the money and valuables in just one side of the purse. You would always want to keep it, some money here, some money there. At home also we do the same thing. When we have cash, I remember even now my mother sometimes does it. She keeps money in different dabbas in our kitchen. Why do we do that? Because just in case there's something happens at home, right? If there is a theft at home, if there's any kind of an issue like that, all your money is not gone. Or for example, here in our example, if you go out somewhere and if your wallet falls, all your money doesn't go. You should have money to reach home at least, right? Or there's a pickpocketing, say. So you're taken care of in that. So it's a risk management technique which we all do in our life every day, right? So this is in financial terms, it is called diversification. And as they say, don't keep all your eggs in the same basket. So no matter how great investment that you may be doing, if it is not diversified, then there is always a risk that you may lose all your funds at once, all your investment at once. Right? So considering that, now what does mutual fund do? Mutual fund essentially spreads your risks in different investments. Now, can you do that? We cannot do that, unless we have a substantial amount of money with us, which in turn we could actually invest in different products. Now, how does that happen? Because for mutual fund, it is easy to do that because we have various funds which has assets under management, that is basically money kept with them in lakhs and crores. Now, what happens there? They can take 50 crore and put it in one company. They can keep another 25 crore in another company. Because it is a pooled money from all of us, it is easy for them to diversify, keep it in different products, different stocks or different kind of financial products. Now here, when we have invested 500 rupees in the mutual fund, probably that 10 rupees would be in one fund, in one stock, 20 rupees in another, 50 rupees in another. So what happens if that in case there are some funds go down, we always have a protection that all the economy will not go down. That is the premises that we have always, right? That not everything is going to go down. So depending on if something goes down, there is some other investments in the fund which would support the investment that we have made. So our losses are protected due to diversification, right? So this is extremely important for us to really understand that, this is the diversification, and due to which the risk is protected, the downside is always protected for us. Now that's that. Then there is another advantage that we have about investing in the mutual fund is that we always have a low ticket size. What is low ticket size? Now, when we go and invest in some funds which may be giving us good returns, but the problem is that they have a very high ticket size. What is high ticket size? What is ticket size basically? Ticket size is why you want to invest. You cannot invest this small amount, right? You cannot invest a small amount. Why? Because if I want to invest in the government securities, government bonds, they're considered as very safe because government can always print money and support that that investment. So government normally doesn't default, right? So this is considered as the safest investment. Now what happens? Now you want to invest in the government bonds, government securities. Now the problem is that you cannot invest less than 1 lakh rupees in the government bonds. Now here there is a problem for us because unless we have 1 lakh rupees with us, we cannot buy that fund, buy that government bond. Whereas in the mutual fund, you could actually start investing from as low as 500 rupees or maybe in some cases even 100 rupees. There are some funds which actually take investments of 100 rupees, right? So, so you can actually invest from a very small amount, and that is the biggest advantage. That's a very big advantage. Normally it happens that we think that okay, I want to make even if I know that okay, I want to invest 1 lakh rupees, if I don't have at that time, I will think okay, let me now try and put that money aside, make with 1 lakh rupees, and then I will invest. But by then, if some emergency happens, if you require some money, then all your investment plans are gone for a toss. So therefore, this small ticket size really helps. Now, the next point here is that easy liquidity. We have a very easy liquidity. Now, what is liquidity? Liquidity is where you need your money. When you need your money, you should get your money back. Now, this is a very important principle of investment, that you need to have liquidity in your investment. Now, if you have a great investment, but if you don't get your money on time when you require your money, then what happens is that you have to, of course, you'll have to either take money from relatives or somebody else, or you'll have to get it from the get a bank loan, which again is a hassle because at that time you may not get your money on time. But in case of mutual fund, as I said, the investing is so easy. You could actually do it with the help of your smartphone. Similarly, you could withdraw your investment, redeem your investment with a click of a tap of a few taps on your mobile phone. It is so easy. Probably, I would say, apart from your bank account, there's no other financial product where the withdrawal of the investment is so easy. Right? So that's not that's so easy. In a day or two, in some cases within a day, in some cases within a couple of days, you'll get your investment back, your money back in your bank account. Of course, in the bank also, you'll probably have to sometimes go to an ATM and withdraw your money. Here, it is not even that is not required, and you can do all of that online on your own, right? So it is so easy. Then there is definitely a transparency between in the mutual funds. What happens, as I said, if something goes wrong, we have a support of regulator, because all these mutual funds are registered with Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and they have to comply with so many regulations, which makes the investment in the mutual funds very safe. Now, can we say that this is the most safest? No, it's not safe. I wouldn't call it that, because of course it has a market risk. Now, what is market risk? Market risk is something that is dependent on the movement of the market. If the market goes down, if the share market goes down, your investment could go down, right? So that is why it is safe, right? And there is a transparency and safety I have talked about. Mutual fund have, you have an option to invest in different kinds of mutual funds depending on your requirement, which I think is nowhere available in any other investment option. Either some investment could be risky and could be giving good returns. Some investments are which are relatively safe and which are giving us a very good safety net, but their investment could be, their returns could be written on a lower side. It could be all of that, but all the features depending on your requirement is not available in a single product where there's no other product than the mutual fund, where all these options are available depending on where you want to invest. And we will come to that, what are the different options that we have, what are the different kinds of schemes we have for mutual funds, right? We'll come to that. Now let's also look at a little bit, talk a little bit about what is the what are the different kinds of what are the cons, what are the disadvantages of a mutual fund. Now some people will say, okay, now I know about mutual fund, sorry, I know about the stock markets, I am expert in that, why should I pay this amount to this fees, okay, this management fees or this expense ratio that we have to pay, why should I pay this to a third person or a distributor or a mutual fund company? Now, if you are expert in that, and if you are aware of all of that, probably, especially for equity, this is a disadvantage that you have, that you have to shell out some percent of maybe a 1% and a 1.5% money from your investment. So that's another issue. That's the issue there. Right? So this is one disadvantage. Then some people would say, okay, I don't have a control over where I want to invest. And that is true, because I don't have a control. It is dependent on the wisdom of the mutual fund company or the fund manager as to where to invest, right? So he will decide. I don't have that control. Some people say there is a lack of transparency in mutual fund, because what happens is that, when you are investing, you will come to know where all the mutual fund company has invested, but that you would come to know from time to time, not everyday basis, not a real time basis. You wouldn't come to know the mutual fund company has done this or hasn't done this, right? So that's another one, right? So, and the next one, disadvantage of this mutual fund sometimes it is alleged that the mutual fund companies are not worried about our funds as we are, because it is ultimately, it's not their money, and they're passive in handling our money, especially when they have to vote for different companies boards, like a, because the mutual fund company is a shareholder of that, uh, while when they invest in that company, right, that particular company. Therefore it is mutual fund that who they're not careful about it. Now we talked about that. However, it is important to understand that the advantages are far more superior, far more than those kind of disadvantages that we talked about of investing in the mutual fund. So it's my duty to make you aware of all the sides. So I've done that, but the advantages are far more than the disadvantages that we have about those on those mutual funds that we talked about. Now, why do we buy mutual funds? We buy mutual funds simply because it is easy for us to use. It is quick, it is liquid, and it is safe. Now, there are three important factors that we buy of investment, and let's try and test the mutual funds, whether how they are, whether they are really serving the purpose of investment or not here. Now, especially here, I'm talking especially considering the fact that you could be doing, either you could be doing it for yourself, or you could be doing it for your siblings or your children of persons with disability. Because here, the responsibility on you is more to have these investments, are really a good investments, because in some cases it may not be easy for the beneficiaries of this investment that you're going to make them beneficiaries, though those they will not be in a position to really take a decision, or understand really what is what is the best investment for them, right? So it is important. So now let's understand these three principles. Now, one first principle is safety. Now you'll say, okay, now what is safety? Safety is, of course, it is important, but what is so big deal about it? But the problem is that I've seen a lot of even those educated people, they sometimes do not take those, that safety angle into consideration while they're investing, because somebody tells them that no, this is a great investment. And I know a lot of finance professionals, personally, I know them, who have made this mistake of investing in some risky products, thinking that this will give them great returns, and this had landed them in a soup. Here, especially investing in mutual fund would really help because of the aspects that I've covered just a while back, the advantages that I talked about. It is safe, definitely, because it is a regulated product. If you have heard about a couple of mutual funds that have failed recently, those mutual funds, in spite of their failing, there was an option of those investors. They got their money, substantial amount of money they got back from those investments. Why that could happen is because the safety aspect was taken care of by the regulator, and the regulator stepped in, and then it kind of it took over the whole situation, and it supported the investors. So safety is extremely important, right? and safety is available, right? So those funds, and of course, as I spoke about the diversification part, since it is diversified, then definitely it is, and it's a safer investment option for us. Now let's talk about the other point of why we should invest in mutual fund is after safety is rate of return. How much rate of return that I'm getting? We say that, you know, these bank accounts, when we invest in those bank accounts, we get that, you know, we consider that as very, very safe investment. But all of us know, unfortunately, in recent past, and that has been happening from time to time, that, you know, it's not as safe as it is said to be. There are banks which fail, and of course, there is a deposit insurance given by the government, which was earlier 1 lakh rupees. Now it is 5 lakh rupees. But more than that, even that is not safe. And there you would see the rate of returns, that the interest that we get is just about 3.5% to 4%, in which is, in all likelihood, it may go down. It may go down. It will not. It will not sustain, because as all of us know, in the month of April, the government had actually proposed to reduce all the interest rates in the economy. Of course, they had taken it back for at least for this quarter, and maybe another quarter they may sustain it. But then after that, it is definitely likely to go down. And what happens in the, you know, while the inflation is growing, you know, the Bangai, right? The prices are always rising year on year. And in that case, it is difficult to sustain even, I mean, you know, in other words, you could say that the money is going down. The investment that we have been doing, rather the money that we have put in the bank, the value of that money is going down. Just, I mean, by doing nothing, keeping the money in the bank. Therefore, it is important to have the rate of return at least equal to the rate of inflation. So how much is the rate of inflation? It's generally around 6 to 7%. So let's call it a 6%. At least the you know, the rate of returns on your investment should be more than 6%. Then only it is a great investment. It's a good investment. Otherwise, you are losing your money. So here, in case of mutual funds, you have most of these mutual funds which are giving you good returns. Even the bond mutual funds, which invest in the government securities and some other securities, they are giving us returns of more than the bank account, and the bank FDs, because bank FDs are also giving us somewhere about 5% and 5.5%. Right? So in some, I would say the FDs are also, in fact, giving us less rate of return. That's the problem. And therefore, if you really want to grow your money, you got to remember that you have no other option but to invest in the mutual fund. Then the third important topic I just spoke about a while back is liquidity. Liquidity is extremely, extremely important. Now imagine you have kept your money, you have money, investments, but that investment you cannot withdraw. You cannot take that money out. Then what's the use? Especially where if you have made this investment for your siblings or for your children, persons with disability, here if they don't get the money on time, what you have invested, then all your, the entire purpose of this investment is defeated. And therefore it is important to have the investment liquid. Right. So these are the main important reasons why we should buy mutual funds, because in mutual fund, as I said, you can always withdraw your money. Now quickly, let's talk about few important terms that we should know. One thing is, one such term, important term, is NAV, net asset value. What is net asset value? Net asset value is the value of your investment today. What is the, so as the market closes, you would know how much my investment has done, how good it has done, whether it is grown, not grown. You would, so this is the indicator of your investment, where it has gone, whether it has come down, whether it has grown, whatever it is. So that's the net asset value. The next thing is units. What is mutual fund unit? So the mutual fund unit is like a share. Okay, now let's understand. Let's understand what is unit. So unit is like a share. Now you would say, I want to buy 10 shares of Reliance, say for example. Okay, and the value is say 100 rupees. Now that 100 rupees is a value of that share. Here, similarly, when you invest in a mutual fund companies, when they start the scheme, they start with 10 rupees value. So now if I want to invest 1000 rupees, I will get 100 units of that scheme, right? That mutual fund. So this is called units, and that keeps on growing or coming down depending on the situation of the market. So that's that. So we covered about some other terms are there. They may be we could just have a small write-up on that when we share the write-up about, a small handout about the session today. Now let's understand what are different types of mutual fund. Now this could be an important thing for you to understand. Mutual fund can be classified in different ways. Now there is a term called close-ended mutual funds. Now what is close-ended mutual fund? The close-ended mutual fund is that there is a particular time where you could invest in mutual fund for a specified time, say for example 1 month, and then you cannot invest in that fund, right? You can maybe for a period of maybe 3 years, and there is a lock-in period there where you have to just keep your money and you cannot withdraw it. Now it's not that you cannot at all withdraw. There is a way you can always trade it on the stock exchange, but it's not very easy way to do it. So there is a lock-in for that. So that is called close-ended mutual fund. Then there is an open-ended mutual fund. What is open-ended mutual fund? Open-ended mutual fund is where you can anytime invest and anytime withdraw. Those are open-ended mutual funds. Then there is interval funds. Now what is interval fund? Interval fund is like there is a certain specified type where you can invest, then it closes for investment. After a while, maybe 6 months time, 1 year time, depending on what is the strategy of mutual fund, it will open again. You can again invest and withdraw, and then again it closes. So these are called investment funds. These are called interval funds. I'm so sorry. Right? Then the mutual fund can also be classified where it invests. So, like, there are mutual funds like flexi funds. Now, what is flexi funds? Flexi funds is the fund where you could invest anywhere. I mean, they could invest in any kinds of products, financial products, market products, like they could either invest in stocks, bonds, or the combination of the entire corpus can be handled as per the wisdom of the mutual fund company, mutual fund manager. Correct? So that's the flexi. Then there is multi-cap fund. Now, what is multi-cap fund? Multi-cap is like a market capitalized. So I don't want to get into too much of a details of this, but there are small cap, mid cap, and the large cap fund, large cap companies in the stock market. So then they invest in those kinds of funds. Then there are separate funds for a particular cap size, a type of a company size, like a small cap fund. What they do, they invest in a smaller companies where the potential of growth is more, but there is more risk there. Similarly, there are large cap funds or blue chip funds where what they do, the risk is less there, but the potential of growth is also a little bit lesser at times. So it depends on that, right? Then there are thematic funds. So there is a particular theme of that fund. Like, for example, banking and finance. So they will only invest in those, and those are also called sectoral funds. So they will only invest in those sectors or on those themes, banking or finance, or maybe somebody would invest in technology. Nowadays, there are some technology funds or digital India funds. Right? Then there are, and of course, there are some infrastructure funds and different kinds of funds that we have. Now let's understand from the style, from the strategy point of view. So there are equity funds, there are balance funds, there are bond funds, right? So what is equity fund? Equity funds are the funds which actually invest in the stock market. So, right? They can only invest in the stock market. So you'll get to know when you see that. Right? So that is one. Balance fund is that equity oriented balance fund, as they call it. What they do essentially is that they have their 67% of their, or 2/3 of their investment in the equity market, and 1/3 is in the safer bond markets. What happens is that these are considered as a little bit safer options, because you will know if the market goes down sharply, then the 1/3 of your investment is invested in the stock in the bonds. So you're safe relatively. And then there are some bond funds which invest in those bonds or the government securities, which are relatively safer. And there are some liquid funds which actually invest in the bank money only, where the money is so liquid, you could quickly get your money back, but you don't have a great returns on those. Then there are something called international funds. What happens in the internet? You see, otherwise you cannot invest easily in the US markets or China markets or European markets. But with the help of these international markets, you could actually invest in the international markets, and you can actually take advantage of mutual of investing in the international markets. Especially, you know what happens? I would nowadays suggest us to invest in this international funds also for 2-3 reasons. One thing is, of course, in India we don't have the big size company like US or European companies have. So the technology companies like Facebooks and those kind of companies are listed in US. Now we utilize the services of those companies. So why shouldn't we have our investment in those kind of companies when we are using the products of those companies? So we have that option to grow with the growth of those companies. All right, so that's one. Secondly, it is important here to diversify our portfolio, because what happens is that if the Indian markets are not doing great and if the international markets are doing good, we have that option to grow our investment. Thirdly, we have in the international funds, normally we see that the value of rupee versus dollar generally falls every year by 3-4% or some percent. So even if US market or whichever international market that your investment is not doing great, still you will have that advantage of, maybe you could actually, as a retail investor, you could actually have that advantage. If the rupee ka value goes down, you will get some 3-4% safely you could get that returns on your investments, right? And there are some couple of other advantages also we have. So we should, I think, definitely consider international funds, and this is only possible through mutual funds. We don't have to think too much about it.
Rahul, just wanted to just give you a quick time check. It's
Yes.
12:30, just so you know. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, great. No problem. Thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you. So this is about the international. Then there are some commodity funds. Like if you want to invest in gold, you can do that with the help of the gold funds as well, right? For tax purposes, if you want to save taxes, there is ELSS funds, equity linked saving schemes, which are through which you could save up to 1.5 lakh rupees a year tax, and this fund is locked in for 3 years, and it has given great returns, and this is the least amount of lock-in period that any kind of tax saver investment has. So this is about the types of mutual fund. So we always have types of mutual fund schemes. Quickly, I'll tell you, we have generally 3 kinds of mutual fund types schemes, which is there are the options we get. One thing is growth option, dividend option, and dividend reinvestment option. Now, what is, quickly I'll tell you what is it. Growth option is where when your investment grows, the unit price keeps on growing, and you'll and your money gets compounded over the period of time. Okay, the value of your NAV of your units increase, and it is reflected, the growth is reflected in that amount. Dividend is where from time to time, the mutual fund company would give you the fund, some money back in the form of dividend. And that, whatever that growth the company has done, it will give that back to you in the form of dividend. And that then again the price of that unit would go down, right? So that's the dividend option. So if you need money from time to time, this could be an option for you. So your profit component is given back to you. Then the third one is dividend reinvestment. What happens is that they would take the dividend, they will give you the dividend, but instead of giving it back to you, they would reinvest that that dividend back to the market, and you will get more units of that mutual fund. So these are the types of mutual funds. Now, what is the taxation thing about this? So basically, there are majorly, for us, there is a stamp duty tax, which is a very, very small amount that we have to pay over on these mutual fund. Like if you invest, say 1,000 rupees, maybe 25 paise is the tax that you have to pay upfront these days on the mutual fund units. Then there is mutual fund. Major taxation that we have is the capital gains tax. What is the capital gains tax? Capital gains tax is the tax which you have to pay on the gains that you have earned, the amount that profits that you have earned on your investment. Now, if you have invested 100 rupees and you get 110 rupees as the total amount, and you withdraw that amount, then you will have to pay tax on that 10 rupees. Now, there are two kinds of taxes that we have on mutual fund investments. It could be a short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain. Short-term capital gain, if you keep the money invested in bond or international funds or any commodity fund, any funds, except for equity funds, except for share market related funds or balance funds, you will have to keep the money for if you withdraw the money before 3 years time, you will have to pay the short-term capital gain, that is 15% on your investment. That is the, so if you earn 10 rupees, so 10 rupees ka 15% you will have to pay as short-term capital gain, right? So that is about 1.5 rupees. So 1.5 rupees you'll have to pay as a tax there. Secondly, if you keep this money for more than 3 years in those mutual funds, then of course the taxation is 10%, 10% without indexation or 20% with indexation. Now, indexation is something where there is a value given for each year. So how many? So depending on that, so there is a whole system of calculation which you can always look at on Google, and it is easily available. You could always get. So it is even less at times because the inflation is growing. So they have factored in the factor of inflation while calculating the those indexation factor. So there is a capital. And there could be a capital loss also, which could be short-term capital loss and long-term capital loss. So you can set it off against each other. Now the problem here, however, is even if your money is not taxable otherwise, you're not coming in that bracket of taxability, but this capital gains tax you will have to anyway pay, even if you otherwise fall in the non-taxable bracket. Now, in case of equity funds, you will have to, so this formula is for 1 year. So if you keep your money idle for invested for 1 year, less than 1 year, then short-term capital gain, more than 1 year, long-term capital gain. And that long-term capital gain, you'll have to only pay if your investment is more than 1 lakh rupees a year. If your gains is more than 1 lakh in a financial year, then you'll have to pay that tax on that appropriate tax, long-term capital. So there is, lastly, I just want to tell you that there are two ways of investing in the mutual fund. As I said, either you could invest in regular funds or a direct fund. Now, regular funds there is a cost involved, which goes as a commission to your what is it called? Mutual fund distributor. But he gives you some services. Now, if you know that this is the mutual fund I want to invest, I know all about it, then you have an option to start investing in the direct mutual fund, where the expense ratio there for that mutual fund is lesser, and you will have an option to get more profits from your investment, because 0.5% generally is more, and in the long run, that 0.5% could be a substantial amount that you could save. You could have more through your investment. So, so I think that's all about today. Today's from my side. If you have any questions, I can take them now.
Yes, thank you so much, Rahulji. Rahulji's contact information is on your screens, his email as well as his phone number. You can always reach him, or you can reach any of us, Harshali or myself, through the WhatsApp groups that we are actively monitoring. Any specific questions that you have, you can always send it to us even after the session today. And for most of you, you must have seen this, our list of topics for the year. I will post this again on our WhatsApp groups today for those of you who are new, who may not have seen this. I do hope that you will join us again next month, but we will now take some questions. So I'm going to stop my screen share, and I think I will go from, I'll start with the chat box first, and then I know a few people have raised their hands. I'll take that as well, Savita. I'll unmute you in just a minute. I think the first question, or the last question that I see is, if my total annual income is less than 3 lakhs, which includes 1,50,000 as LTCG, do I still have to pay tax on the LTCG?
Yes. So now, if you have an LTCG, 50,000 is LTCG if it is. If the tax amount is coming to 50,000, whatever the tax amount is, you'll have to pay. Now, if your LTCG, sorry, I'm so sorry. If your capital gain is 50,000, then of course you'll have to pay the tax on your gains, and not the full. So the LTCG would be about 10% of that, approximately. I'm just saying, right? 10% or the 20% of that amount that you have to pay. You still have to pay the LTCG. You can only set it off against the the long-term capital loss, if you have any.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll have to pay the tax.
Thank you. Other very good question is there any mutual fund scheme particularly that would be good for persons with disabilities that you know of?
So they have some scheme that I have seen earlier. Some HDFC had some scheme. I'm not sure whether now it is on or not, but there was a scheme which said, that this is for a specific purpose of persons with disability and persons with those who are suffering with cancer and stuff like that. But I think, see, the entire idea behind it is there is no specific requirement in terms of your investment for persons with disability here, for a special scheme, because ultimately what matters is that that you get a good returns on your investment. Here, since it is all about investment, I think there is no specific requirement that it would really serve. I don't know what was the purpose of that scheme that I was talking about, but what specific purpose it could serve. But in my opinion, there could be no specific purpose which could be served by a specific scheme directed towards person with disability, if there's any mutual fund scheme. So I think a good mutual fund scheme should be good enough. There is no specific requirement. I wouldn't see any value addition for a specific mutual fund scheme for persons with disability.
Okay, I'll take a question from Savita and then I will go back to the chat box again.
Sure.
You can unmute yourself, Savita ji.
Ma'am, I want to know that how a person with disability can invest in mutual fund. Because
Okay.
my daughter has disability and he has bank account, but PAN number is not allotted. How we can invest?
Okay. So what disability she has?
MR and CP.
All right. All right. So now, if she has a bank account, then I mean, I'm so sorry. So having a PAN number is not an issue here. You can apply that online. Of course, you'll need a PAN number if you want to invest in mutual funds. And I hope she also has Aadhaar. So
Yes.
right. So yes. So if she has that, she can open her mutual fund account and she can start investing in that. Now the problem here is that depending on the extent of her disability, maybe she would require some support from your side or somebody in the family to find out which is the good investment scheme for her, through which she could actually invest and grow her finances. So,
She cannot sign on check etc.
No, so even if can she operate the online account, bank account or something?
Yes, account is operated by his mother as a guardian.
Okay, so she is not operating it, right?
She is not operating.
Okay, in that case, I would suggest that you should somebody else, maybe her mother, her father, whoever it is, as a guardian, they can invest on her behalf. They can similarly open this mutual fund account and invest on her behalf. Just the way you are operating the bank account, you can invest exactly the similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that question. The other question that I'm seeing is that now that LTCG above 1 lakh is taxable, what should be our strategy to save on taxes?
Yeah, I think the strategy should be, only withdraw the amount up to 1 lakh rupees in your LTCG. That tax. I'm so sorry. The gains shouldn't be more than 1 lakh rupees. That is one strategy, of course. The other thing that I see is that if you have a long-term investments in the mutual funds, I think from 1st April 2018, there's a clause in the tax, for this income tax applicability, that there is a thing called grandfathering. What happens there is that whatever gains that you got up till 31st March 2018, those are anyway tax free. So from that date till today, whatever your tax gains are, only on that not your tax gain, but whatever your gains are from that date to till now, only on that the taxes will be applicable. So now say for example, if you had 100 rupees invested maybe 10 years back, and on 31st March 2018, the value of your investment say was 200 rupees, and now it is 220 rupees. In that case, you will have to pay taxes only on 20 rupees and not on 120. So this way you can manage your taxes so that, in that case, probably your taxes could be just about 2 rupees. Right? So this is the way possible. Of course, this could be a strategy that you can apply.
Thank you. The other important question, I think, is how advisable is it to invest in mutual funds when we look at liquidity in times of emergency, especially due to no social contact?
Liquidity is still there in the mutual fund because the money that you get is, you can redeem your investments online. Your money comes to your bank account straight online. So there is no problem in terms of social contact. In fact, sometimes you have to go to the bank to get some services from the banks. But for mutual fund, I would say 99% of the times you don't need you don't have to physically go and attend and go to a mutual fund company's office or somewhere else. So that way, that is not a problem. But if there is an emergency, then I would say if it's part of an emergency fund, then I wouldn't say that you should keep this money in the investment, because if you have invested in an equity mutual fund, and if the money goes down, if the markets are not doing very well at that time, then I would say you may still have to withdraw the money, and it will take a couple of days. So there is a bit of an issue there. But otherwise, I don't see any problem in terms of liquidity in the times of in today's time.
Okay, I see two more questions if we can take them. The first one is, I invested in a mutual fund in 2010. I am still invested. Suppose I redeem it now. How do I know what was the gain on 31st March 2018 and how much is it after that date? How will they find that out?
Yes, so you can get all those details on the AMFI website, AMFI, Association of Mutual Funds in India. So there you can, on that website, you can get those details on that day. What was the value of that fund? And and you have to just subtract that amount, that value from the today's value, so that you'll get what is my taxable amount, and then you can calculate on that tax on that.
Okay. Another question is, how much commission is charged by an agent? Is it charged monthly or annually?
So commission is charged not from you really. It's actually charged from your investments. So there is if you would read somewhere, there's something written called expense ratio. So now that's expense. Out of that expense ratio, the mutual fund companies pay the distributor the commission. Okay. Now you don't pay it from your pocket, and that is very difficult to understand sometimes, because see, it depends on the expense ratio. That is different companies, different schemes have different expense ratio on their schemes. So it's difficult to get as to exactly how much is it charged. The commission is charged by the agent, but how it is charged is that it is actually charged on your investment. Now, if you invest 1,000 rupees, and the expense ratio is say 1%, then on that, from your pocket, 1 rupee is going. 10 rupees are going. So it is adjusted while you are investing. You don't come to know also very easily that this money is gone from my investment. But this is the amount that they redeem when you redeem your investments. They deduct that 1% from that investment, and then they will give you the remainder amount.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. The another question is, should an unemployed person pay tax on STCG, LTCG for debt funds?
Now, here the question is not whether you're employed or unemployed. If you have the gains, if you have the capital gains, then you'll have to pay the taxes. Now, it could be another issue where whether we may ask, okay, should an unemployed person pay the tax or not? But unfortunately, we don't have any mechanism to really see whether that person is unemployed at that time or not, or gainfully employed. So I think that's a very difficult thing to do logistically and administratively. So I think that may not be possible really even to bring about that kind of a system.
Okay, thank you so much for taking so many questions, Rahulji. Just a couple more I see. Actually, there are
Sure.
more. Yeah, this is a question saying, isn't it a fact that ELSS and tax saving funds give comparatively lower returns than some of the other equivalent fund?
No, I don't think so, because see, equivalent funds, you can only compare the ELSS funds with ELSS funds. You cannot compare it with, say, for example, small cap funds or flexi cap funds. In some cases, flexi cap funds or some other funds may have given extra returns, and even now they may be giving. But these ELSS funds are giving reasonably good returns. In fact, I would say probably the best returns. It's better than the PPF and some other funds if you stay invested in for a longer duration. Then they are giving, I think, better returns than any other tax saving investments that we may be investing.
Okay, wonderful.
And of course, while investing, we should see all the companies have their tax saving funds. So you should always go for a good ELSS fund. So of course, there are some good funds and there are some relatively not so good funds. So one has to really choose between which is the fund that you want to invest
in. There's a general question about someone being new to the whole world of mutual funds. How can they learn how to invest? I guess I was thinking that we can share some of the handouts from today's PowerPoint itself with all the participants. And I know people can contact you, Rahulji, directly if they have if they need anything. But is there any other advice you can give for this participant?
So here, see, there are basic three, 4 things that we can keep in mind. Number one is that, of course, you need a bank account, you need a PAN card, you need an Aadhaar card, and you then open an account over on a website like. There are many apps and websites that those are called mutual fund aggregators. There you will get all kinds of funds listed, all the funds listed, and depending on your requirement, you can then invest online. You can and of course there is enough material available online about which is a good fund, which is not so good fund, and what are the features of a different mutual funds. And even the mutual fund companies come out with an information or articles on various media platforms where you would know which fund is good for you or not, and not good for you. So a little bit of a reading would definitely help. And of course, as Shivani, you said, if you when we'll give some handouts from this today's presentation, of course they will have a better idea about these things.
And actually a very good, excellent question related to what you just said. Someone asked, how reliable are mutual fund platforms like Grow or Zerodha, etc.?
Mutual fund platforms are reliable. I've seen they're not, that shouldn't be a problem. However, you should also keep an eye on the whether they're invested properly. Because see, when you invest in the mutual fund, you will get an email or an SMS from the mutual fund company also that you have invested this much amount and your value. You've got this many units. So one should be alert about that. That's one. Other thing is that every month you will get on your email something called CAS, Consolidated Account Statement. So there you should always verify every month, maybe to see whether it has reflected in this CAS or not. So once it is there, when it has that, then I think that is not that shouldn't be a problem. So there is no issue of reliability that way on those Grow and Zerodha and those kind of things. I haven't come across any issue that way.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm, as you can all see, I'm also sharing the screen once again with you so you can have Rahulji's email and phone number as well as our email in case you need any more information or help from us. And I hope that I really hope I have covered everybody's questions today. I think I have. Before we wrap up the session, if I may have missed any one of your questions in the chat box, please let me know right now, and we will make sure that it is addressed. I think I have taken all the questions, I hope. Yeah, Harshali, did you see if I missed anything? No?
Yes. No.
I think we covered it all.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I hope this was a helpful session for all of you. And once again, many thanks to Rahulji for taking the time and giving us his valuable advice and expertise. As I said, after the session today, we will take some key points, make some highlights, handouts that can be shared with all of you. And of course, you have all our contact informations, Rahul's, mine, and Harshali's. You can get in touch with any one of us. We are always looking forward to hearing from all of you, especially if you have any questions for the next session. Tell us in advance, on our WhatsApp groups. Let us know what kind of things you want to learn more about that particular topic. That way we can give you even more customized experience for your particular needs. So I do hope that you will connect with us, and very lovely to see you all. And I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rahul ji. Very informative. I mean, so much in detail. Came to know many things. Funds.
Thank you so much, Harshali.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you. Harshali, can you put the WhatsApp group link on the chat box? I don't have it with me. Any one of the links. So
just one second.
We'll just share our WhatsApp group link for those of you who are new. All you have to do is click on it and you will get added to it directly. And that way you will get all our updates of not just the financial literacy series that we do with Rahulji, but Snik and Samarthya does a lot of other activities, a lot of parent training, webinars, stress management series, activities for children. So you will get to know everything in one place. So whoever is interested, please join our group. We would love to welcome you there. Thank you again so much for everybody and all of your questions. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye. You can join in. Posted link in chat box.
Thank you, Harshali.
Bye-bye.